course, we walked in and immediately saw what we wanted. I'm Sarah Robertson of Studio Dearborn. I've been designing luxury kitchens for over 20 years. I've watched the kitchen become the most important room in the home. Every year, over 10 million American households renovate their kitchens. I wanted to share with you how to make that space feel personal and special and organized and tailored to you. This is Kitchen Confab. In the last episode, Adam got his first glimpse of his brand new kitchen layout.
Oh, it's so cool to see it in this version.
Then we had a long discussion about how to design the ceiling, which is a really important detail. And after that, we got to go to the job site and actually see the framed kitchen for the first time. So today, Adam's gonna come to the studio. We're going to look at finished samples, and then we're gonna head to Walker Zanger to look at the tile and stone, which are really two of the most important finishes in the kitchen. Where's Adam?
Hey, how's it going,
Hey,
guys?
Adam, how are you?
Good to see you.
Come on in.
We get another hug.
How are you?
Yeah.
I can't wait to show you what
Good
we've
to
been
see you,
working
Amy.
on. You remember Amy, and you remember
course.
Cece.
Oh yeah, of course. How can I forget? So
So-
excited to see everything we've been working on.
Oh yeah, we're so excited to show you. Okay, so should we start with the green since that's kind of the fun?
I always
Alright,
start with the
let's
most
start
fun
with the
part.
fun
And
and
the
then-
gold, yeah, I agree.
And then we'll work our way into the more neutral.
Yep.
So we have 4 different greens here for you to think about. Some of them, have a little more of a blue. Some have, warmer tones. We went a little lighter, just to kind of get you starting to think about what that might be.
Yep.
We have an assortment of brass hardware because I think this sort of light antique brass is going to be the finish that we're going for.
Yeah, so classic.
And then a few samples of some really warm, earthy kind of yellows. And then Amy has the sample here of, this is the shaker door in a really, nice kind of off-white that's super neutral, a little bit on the warmer side. This one has a wire brushed finish to it. This one's not wire brushed. You kind of get a sense of
I do.
what that wire brush does, right?
It
makes
naturally
feel-
becomes lighter too.
Yes. Interestingly, it becomes lighter, and it has a much more kind of an earthy, antique-y vibe to it. So we'll want to make the decision between
Yeah, it's a little
that.
bit more expensive to do the wire brush, but it can be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little more. Obviously, it is a hand-done process, so it's time-intensive, but yeah.
Cool.
And then we got a plain black, so just a few options with that.
This palette is looking amazing to me. I trust you on the sort of the subtle differences. That's the kind of thing that I think experience of actually installing it and how it's going to feel,
Right.
rather than looking at a sample here. So I think that,
Yeah, I think that this also feels, more versatile in terms of, your other furnishings in your house. I think you've got some things that are kind of cleaner and more mid-century modern.
Yeah, and our floors too are going to be pretty blonde. So
Right.
we have to remember that as well.
Yeah.
I like the sort of this idea of the grout color, because if we're
Yeah.
going to tile the whole room, then
Yeah.
the grout becomes pretty important.
And it
Because
brings
you'll
in-
see it.
Yeah, it brings in texture. It brings in texture and pattern in a way that you're not necessarily going to have any other pattern really going in the room unless you've got
That is the pattern, right?
the stone, which is going to be organic. It's really nice to balance them off each other. So I think the grout color you want to go with, right, is probably something similar to the veining that we see in the stone.
I mean, I'm loving our palette so far.
Awesome.
I'm really into it. I love the earthy tones, so you got that right about me.
So next up, we're going to head to Walker Zanger, where we can kind of narrow down what we're going to use in terms of the finish and the laminam for the perimeter, right? The marble for the island, which is going to be really exciting and fun to pick out, right?
It's going to be great to see it in person.
And hopefully we can even find some white subway tile that we love. That will just
Fantastic.
kind of pull everything all together.
Let's go.
All right, so let's go. Okay, so our trip to Walker Zanger was fabulous. We got the whole tour of the showroom, which I'm so lucky is really close to my studio.
Hello, welcome to Walker Zanger. I am Norca.
Hi, Norca. I'm Sarah Robertson.
Nice to meet you.
Studio Dearborn. Nice to meet you. This is Adam, my client.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
So you got our drawings,
Yes,
right?
I have everything.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So you kind of know the look we're going for, and we're here today to look for countertops and tile for his
absolutely.
backsplash and walls. So
Absolutely. I know that you wanted to see the laminum slabs.
yes, that's fantastic. So we're going to want to take a quick look at that.
Absolutely. So let me take you back to them.
Yeah, fantastic. And after our tour of the showroom, we looked at laminam samples because we decided that we would love to do porcelain on the perimeter counters because it's so robust. And laminam is a fantastic product. Okay, so this is great. They have the laminam display right here. We were thinking of a darker stone on the perimeter, right? So this one's really cool. I really like that.
I like the gray inflection.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna give you those.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get a pile of these and we're gonna line
And
them all
here
up.
we have the honed versus the polished, right?
Right.
So we don't love the polished, right?
I don't love the polish.
Me neither.
Okay,
So we kind of know we can eliminate that.
So that one can go back. And oh, this one's kind of nice.
I do like a little veining.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll bring that over.
Let's bring this one over.
And what about one with even more texture?
Ooh, I actually like that. I hadn't noticed that.
Yep.
All right, so let's take a look at that one.
Okay.
All right. Well, I had them line up some white tiles.
Right.
Because I think we're going that direction, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
just a few ideas,
So
and then
nice
we'll
to
work
see
on
things
that.
together.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll work on that next. So first of all, so we've got some that have a very, very plain, kind of clear
Yeah.
toning
and
to it.
The
and then-
laminam is a porcelain, man-made,
Right.
right? And then how do they get the color and the pattern on it?
So this is jet printed, and it has such a high resolution these days that it literally is like photographic
Yep.
quality. And so that's why we love using the porcelains because they're just, first of all, they're so durable.
Right. That's the main
Yeah.
positive,
The
right?
main
Is it-
positive,
Right.
yeah, is that they're so durable. But on top of that, you almost get that look of stone.
I'm kind of into these over the veining, you know, just because it looks more. This looks a little bit more real to me,
Yeah,
just to my eye.
yeah. So this is my favorite as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this is an option too. It's a little bit darker, right?
It feels a little more like, looks a little more like slate.
Right. Looks
Or
a little
a-
bit more like slate.
yeah,
But
or a
that I
black
think
absolute.
is
That's nice
kind
too.
of a cool option, just
Yep.
if we wanted to sort of go even cleaner with our look.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we kind of need to pull it all together.
Yep, based on
And-
what we have too with our
Yeah.
marble.
I think it'll help if we can see some of these in the full slab format.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I know that they have some of those
Oh, that's
in
amazing.
the back warehouse. So
Cool.
that should be our next step is we'll go take a look at those. So Norca took us on a tour of the stone warehouse in the back of Walker Zanger. It's kind of like a hard hat area, although you don't have to wear hard hats. So we got to go into the warehouse area at Walker Zanger. It's where they keep all of the slabs. They have a huge inventory. And of course, we walked in and immediately saw what we wanted. But it's such a fun experience to be able to walk in there. It's kind of like, we're sort of like kids in a candy store. There's so many different slabs that we'd love to use.
So these are the laminum slabs that we talked about.
Oh, that's so helpful to see this in a full slab.
Yes.
Oh,
Here's
there
the marble.
we go.
Been waiting to
This
see
is-
this in person.
This is more like it, right? Am I right?
Well, it's a very special piece of stone, without a doubt.
Oh my God. I love this veining, right?
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's, you know, kind of exceeds my expectations of what I was going to do in the kitchen for stone.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I mean, it's making a statement,
Right.
but it's bringing all of our colors together
Right.
in such an organic way.
Right.
I love the flow of it, the movement. It brings in some texture when we
Right.
don't have really any other pattern going on.
Right, right. And I mean, it has this yellow tone, which is going to go with the inside of our cabinet, but it's not so strong that it's directly talking to it. It can also talk to other things in the kitchen. And I think that's the subtlety of it is better than I expected.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a little stronger color-wise, but I'm pleasantly surprised that it has a neutrality to it.
That's fantastic. So keep in mind that if we're thinking about honing this, it's going to even take on a softer tone when you hone it. It's definitely more bold in a polished finish. So if we hone it, it'll bring it down another level. And then, but we should talk about how we're going to care for it.
Yep.
Because as you know, marble, it etches, it can stain, it's soft and it absorbs. So should we think about like an anti-etch? Because I would recommend that we do that since this is going to be a hard-working island.
I agree. I mean, there'll still probably be a little etching here and there, which is okay.
It's the focal point, it's the center point of your whole kitchen. So I think it might be better.
It's a showstopper.
Yeah.
We want to keep it fresh at least a little while.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I love this crack in here.
Yeah, do you? I wasn't sure whether you were going to love that or hate it.
Yeah, because it gives me that really authentic feeling to this, that this really came out of a piece of rock. And
absolutely.
There's things that aren't like, you know, this is stunningly beautiful, and then here's a little bit of rust. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh yeah, I think, you know, looking at the laminams, there's a lot of subtle differences when you put them together like this up against the marble.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like when we're looking at them out there, they don't come across quite as much, and now here, it's very different.
Yeah, you can really see the difference in
and especially warm to cool.
Yeah.
Right. So we have that kind of difference, and this you
warmer,
see the yellow.
Yeah, it's more soapstone-y.
I like this.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards this. The warmth in there is going to complement the warmth in the stone. It's like, it's cool, but it actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, it doesn't complement as well as this does.
I mean, it's just a shade different, but it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
I agree.
Walker Zanger has a beautiful series called the Cafe Series, and we found this Crackle White that is just, it has a little bit of a vintage look, but it's still really clean. So we're really excited about how everything came together at Walker Zanger today. Today we finalized the color palette. We chose our finishes for the island countertop and the back countertops, as well as the tile for the kitchen space. So it's really shaping up. So next episode, we're going to be traveling to Venice, Italy, where we're going to be scoping out some kitchen appliances for Adam's kitchen. If you like these episodes, you can follow along by liking and subscribing, and you can click off to the right to watch the previous episodes.